Sure it is.
It doesn't show up. Why? Okay. I can't see you because I have to hit a button later on. But Mike will be
Okay.
setting you up pretty soon. Okay, so I'm just going to leave the mic on. I'll shut it off later, but I got to be careful so I don't disconnect. Too many working pieces for somebody who's getting too old for this.
I know the technology is challenging. Yep.
You're not kidding. Okay, let's see. Not what I want. Hello there, Bob. Where? If you have to leave, then you have to leave. I've got Bill's on the computer right now. Nina's going to join us for 10 minutes late because she's home with the kids. But, minutes, I know. Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Sorry. I'm on 20, you get 20 different things there. Here we go. Here's my quorum.
Nice, how are you? How you doing?
We're doing. We're getting there, Bill.
That's fine, Lisa. I'm doing fine.
Okay, good.
Am I the only one?
Well, Nina's going to be on Zoom, but I don't know. She said 10 minutes late. So I think we have everybody here. We'll have a quorum without her. So I think we'll just start and have her show up later.
Okay.
So I have to bounce in the other room, turn it on when it gets closer. I don't want to turn it on too early because that'll be our recording.
Okay.
So doing the Zoom actually works with the town hall stream if I can get it right. Otherwise, we have to depend on Zoom.
Very good.
Yeah, well, we'll see how good it is. This will be my first time getting it right in about 2 months.
And then why isn't the camera? Oh, I see. I think.
I'm gonna go to Florida. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah, Billy.
Down Fort Lauderdale.
Just converting the.
Yeah, we're pretty close. Like the camera on. I'm gonna start this.
It did, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Other than that,
Meeting is now being live streamed.
Not yet.
Lisa, can you hear us?
I can.
Can the, Bill, can you hear us?
I sure can, Michael.
Great, good morning. Mr. Chairman, you have audio connection and video connection and live camera behind you.
okay, we're gonna open our special meeting today. First thing on the agenda is we have the draft minutes from October 5th meeting, and everybody's read them, we looked them over. Is there any questions? If not, I'll need a motion and a second.
Make a motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
So moved. What we're gonna do next, and this is why we're here, we're gonna get right into the conference center, and Mike's gonna go through.
Good morning. The board members will remember that in February, the county asked us to receive the transfer of a 3.625 acre parcel of land in the Commerce Park for sale to SAD, S-A-A-D Development Corp., who were interested in, they were putting together proposals for a distribution center. And apparently how it was working is they put 2 or 3 sites together and other developers put sites together. And then the company that was interested in the distribution center made a selection. And they selected a site down in Dutchess County on Route 84, as opposed to the site in the Commerce Park. As a result, they terminated the contract, and under the terms, we kept $7,500 of earnest money, realizing that site, had future potential. And I can pass around the survey map, but we went ahead and got a survey done, and we got an appraisal done. And the reason we ordered the appraisal was because at the time we felt that the developer had, who was from out of town, offered a price far in excess of the market value. And we have had, the county has had an offer for the site at 80,000. And as you recall, the previous proposed offer was at 120,000. So we have done an appraisal. The appraisal is at $90,000. We presented this to the Board of Supervisors Economic Development Committee last Monday. They have approved the transfer of the property to CEDC for sale at 90,000 to the proposed, the person who's offered 80, if they're willing to pay that. And the full Board of Supervisors will review it at their meeting on next Wednesday, a week from tomorrow. And at that point, we would ask this board at its December meeting to consider whether or not to sell it for the appraised value to the company that has proposed purchase it. It is another site, a company in the Commerce Park. They are going to retain 25 jobs by moving into a new facility that they would build on this site, and they have jobs. Again, we want to bring this to your attention and to the attention of the public through this process, so that, and I have the appraisal, which I'll circulate. I can email copies. We'll post a copy on the website, and then, assuming the county approves the transfer of the property to us, we would proceed with a sale. And I have notified the Authority Budget Office of a potential sale, as they require a 90-day notice before we transfer any real property. Any questions? If not, Mr. Chairman, we have been in touch with Hudson River Valley Holding. That's the entity that Paul Harpus and Matt, who owns the sign company, I can never pronounce his last name, Kasevich, own together. And we had given them an extension to build during COVID. When they purchased the property, they had a penalty mortgage, which required them to construct a facility on that site within 2 years. We did give them an extension, and they have till next June. I offered them the opportunity to talk to this developer or this company, as well as others who might have interest if they're not in a position to build on it themselves. We have had a couple of conversations, but nothing definitive to report. Limbs Machinery, you'll see when you drive by, they have their steel building up. It's not secured yet, so I don't believe they've done anything inside. And that's, you know, right on the corner. And at that point, there is some land that the county has in the back, adjacent to the fire training facility, where they're thinking of putting a new kitchen facility for Meals on Wheels that the county operates. The county is considering using some of their ARPA funds for that project, but it'd be a $3 or $4 million project, and they would need other grant funding for that project as well. Other than that, Harpus himself has a lot that the CEDC transferred to him. It has a similar penalty mortgage, and CEDC had given him the same extension that you provided to Hudson River Valley Holding during COVID, so they had a chance to develop that property without having to pay the penalty. We do have, I think the tent company has built a new facility, a building on their site when you see that. And you know, the real question long term is, I think there are 2 or 3 sites that are owned by people who have not developed them, but they did pay the penalty mortgage. So we're working with those people to see, you know, how long do they want to hold their site. And my thought is, in most instances, they paid 60 to 75 grand for those properties all in after the penalty. And if they can see that, you know, they're not going to use it. They're now up to market. There was a while where the initial payment plus the penalty was above market. But now that the market price for this type of land with water, sewer, gas, electric, and broadband at the same location, perhaps someone who was holding it and who no longer has a purpose for it, but didn't want to sell it at a loss, might open it up to another opportunity.
Mike, quick question. How many parcels are still left
2 or 3.
in the Commerce Park that we,
Yeah, and 2 or 3, and that raises the question. That was a great plan when it was first initiated. It's got to be 15 or 20 or more years ago. There have been some inquiries. Is the IDA or the county going to identify another parcel of land in the county where they could possibly create shovel-ready sites? I think some of that will depend on, the sewer line is not yet operational on 66, and there are issues that if you're not in the Commerce Park and want to connect to that sewer line, you're going to have to get approval from the Greenport Town Board, because the Greenport Town Board included that in the agreement to accept the effluent from this Commerce Park at their wastewater facility when the sewer line was built. There's additional discussion of development at the corner of 9H and 66. And we also, so I do think, the broader issue that we need to begin to think about is, with only a couple of lots left in the Commerce Park where some people are still holding them for either their own use or speculation, we're really, for all practical purposes, out of sites in the Commerce Park. Because those 2 or 3 parcel owners are not really motivated to do much, but perhaps with the market value catching up to what they have in it, they might be interested in selling.
we have no recourse on those.
No, I think in the future you might just, if you offered it at a discounted price to encourage or incentivize someone to build, the penalty mortgage might be that you take it back. Not that you might give them 3 or 4 years to do it, but instead of putting you in the situation of people ending up with good intentions, but at the end just speculating on land, you might give them a $40,000 on a $90,000 piece, and if they don't build on it in 3 years with a 1-year extension with demonstrated purpose, you would take the land back, as opposed to just making them pay something.
No, I was just thinking with Hudson Valley and that's been how long.
Without COVID, we would have collected the money and then turned it to, and have turned it over to the county. So, and then we would not have been getting interest on it because we do earn the interest on the land, and they have been paying. They did get a 6-month deferral during COVID, but all these lots that we still manage for the county are paying. Any questions on the Commerce Center? We have not received, but anticipate a IDA application from 178 Healy Associates LLC. That is a development project in the town of Greenport. They are in the process of making application to the planning board and having discussions with the assessor. And I had some indication that they might have had their application ready, but it'll be ready for your meeting in December. Basically, that's all the information I have on that at this time. The next item is Clock Estates. As you know, we closed the Clock Estate IDA financing 3 or 4 weeks ago. At that time, we issued a sales tax exemption letter to the company. Hudson Russ, on our behalf, filed that notice that's required of that action to the state tax department. And we have a meeting at 1 o'clock today with Mr. Frischkoff from Clock Estates to discuss the reporting requirements related to as an IDA. Lisa and I have been discussing the enhanced reporting requirements that the state has begun to require with respect to IDA projects. We have identified a company in Rochester who services about 20 IDAs in connection with doing this work. And they also provide tracking if there is a project labor agreement. And on January 1st, there will be a new law going into effect that will require any project that's over $5 million and that receives more than 30% benefit from government funding sources, whether federal or state low-income housing tax credits, historic tax credits, IDA benefits. They will be required to pay prevailing wage rates for the construction of their project, and they'll be required to report monthly. In addition, there are several downstate IDAs that also require certain employment for construction criteria, whether it be that the worker lives in a certain geographic area, whether they be have other relevant determined characteristics, whether they be low income or diversity, as well as requiring developers to pay a wage higher than the state minimum wage. The requirements to monitor that are far beyond our capacity with the number of projects we have. If you're the New York City IDA or the Westchester County IDA, you can afford to have 2 or 3 staff people to do this monitoring and tracking. I have spoken with the director of the Ulster County IDA, which is one of and the Montgomery County or the Montgomery Town IDA in Orange County, and they use this consulting firm and have had some success. If you look on the back of the page that I sent, and I will get this to you, Bill and Nina, it just came in this morning. For the monthly review and reporting and inspection related to tracking the prevailing wage issues for a project in the $5 to $25 million range, which is basically the ones that we would be involved in. As you can see, there's a one-time $2,100 fee. There's a monthly fee of $1,755, and then there's a closeout fee. Right now, we don't have any projects in that category, and traditionally, any legal, engineering, survey, appraisal expense for an IDA project is passed on to the developer. At this point, our thought would be to get approval of up to $2,500 for the IDA itself to retain this company for guidance and advice. They have a fee schedule from $90 to $200, depending on the level of professional that we would be working with to help guide us. And then to the extent that we would retain them to do the sales tax tracking, we would pass that cost on to the developer.
So what's that? So it's a one-time fee? Or
It's a monthly fee of $1,100 based
just
on
for us to,
a project of $5 million to $25 million.
okay.
Now, what they have to,
Then you said if we don't have any projects that right now, but
if we did, it would be it's fairly expensive. Be $2,100 to set the program up. It would be
Okay.
$1,755 monthly, and it would be $800. So it would be close to $25,000 if it was a 12 to 18 month project. which in and of itself, even if you, divide by 2.5, thinking that, a professional consulting firm has a 2.5 multiple, would mean need a $10,000 staff time to do that work in-house. And it's not something we do regularly, or that we have enough volume to do to make it worth trying to set that program up in-house. And you would have the developer pay for it anyway. Again, we do have Mr. Frischkoff is calling in today on clock because he wants to know how we're going to handle the sales tax, because he's starting to use a sales tax certificate. And so at the end of November, I don't have to look up, how many days after the end of the month you have to file with the tax department, whether it's monthly, quarterly, or whatever. I do think we need to at least approve the engagement of this firm with the understanding that to the extent that they're doing work on a specific project, that would be billed separately to the developer.
Well, it's going to be billed right through to the developer.
Right.
All right.
So clock is going to be how much altogether?
Well, it'd be $1,100 a month until they finish. So,
But how many million is their project?
their million is 10 million. Their overall project is 10 million. So, and we have found that there are very few IDA projects under 5 million, because the added expense of the reporting, the added expense of the legal and IDA fees don't make it worthwhile. So,
And so their clock will be looking at, say, another 25,000.
no, well, I mean, I would think that clock can be done in 6 months.
Okay,
So, it would be, in their case, I would guess it would be under 10. But if you're looking at, if you were looking at so you're looking at, in the city, if you looked at the 2 Galvin housing projects, they're $25 million. One is 20 million and one is 15. I don't think you can build 150 apartments in 12 to 14 months,
no,
depending on when you can get started weather-wise. So, on a larger project that takes more than 12 months, you're looking at another added expense, which just makes it harder to justify going through the IDA.
right.
Mike, what's the difference between looks like there's 2 one-time fees and then also 2 monthly fees. I'm looking at the top, the reviewing and reporting inspection fee is $17.55 plus the one down below, the sales tax credit.
Right. If
So
you,
both would be applied?
well,
Yeah.
if you were doing if you had to do a project that required prevailing wage rate documentation,
Mhm.
and you had a $5 million contract with a contractor, and you divide that by 100 people, and you've got 6 months, yeah, you'd have all of that. Again, it's we have had some experience here with getting receipts from businesses and organizations that received Project Hudson Tourism grant awards. And, they come in with a box, and I'm sure it's like, they come in with their, like going to your accountant at the end of the year, and they just give you this box and tell you, here's our receipt, sort it out. And, I just, again, I think when we see how this is done, we might determine that it's something we could do in-house, but the compliance and the regulatory risk to this, or to the IDA and to CEDC, to be doing this de novo and not doing it right, and having ourselves in the paper, or having ourselves fined, or I think the first project, we got to try this and see what's involved. And, if we are able to pass it on to the developer, I don't like that. I mean, it's just another burdensome cost. But when you look at these projects, some of them are getting $3 and $4 million of benefits when you add the pilot payment in. And you know, I do think that we would at least need to pay them to get this set up and to figure out how it works.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a deterrent for projects again, because it's
It's another cost,
another cost.
but I don't think it's helpful to the IDA or to the developer or to CDC as your administrator to try to do this de novo.
No.
I would say no.
Too much work for you too.
Well, it's not, you know, we don't have the volume of it, so you can't develop the expertise.
Right.
And, you know, you don't want to go to the doctor that only does one surgery a year. You know?
And then you're also, the only other problem there is you got to go to do this, you're going to require the developer, it has to give you that information. It's not, or we're going to have to go look at the physical.
No, they're
books.
required, I mean, that's part of, built into the boilerplate of the IDA agreements, whether they've read that or not. To get that sales tax benefit. Because what will happen is if they don't provide it, the state tax department will come and assess them the sales tax charge.
Well, this is what I'm saying, but then we're going to, what?
Yeah.
We do a report, we didn't have something, or something's missing.
Yeah, well, that's why it has to go direct from the. It's difficult because, you know, we're trying to encourage businesses, we're trying to help businesses. We did reduce at the CEDC side the fee we would have been entitled to take on Clock and Hudson Valley Creamery for their Office of Community Renewal grant, just because, you know, through COVID, that's surprising these companies were able to stay on track and keep their development project viable. But I would like to at least have a $2,500 approval for us to be able, because there will be costs setting this up and working with this consulting firm that initially won't be able to be passed on to the developer.
How does that hit our budget?
Well, you know, we don't have the budget because it's not the end of the month. We do have the budget for next year, but you know, I expect that we will have a $20 million project that will close next year, and that'll be a $200,000 fee. We have the balance of Clock's fee. We charge them a proportionate percentage based on the issuance of the sales tax certificate as opposed to the full fee. The balance will be due when they close on their financing. And so, you know, we'll have, you know, it's been 5 years since we did the Wick Hotel and 6 or 7 since we did the solar project and received the fee for the DNJ warehouse that didn't go through. So I do think that, you know, we're optimistic about the future projects. But again, I think we put a place saver, what you'll see in the budget for the, that we don't have it here, but the budget we approved at the last meeting for the ABO, I think we put a place saver of a $50,000 fee in, because you don't know. And so the budget is a budget, and you know, $50,000 fee would have been a $1.5 million project, and you know, we knew that we were going to have that with the balance of Clock.
So we need a motion to $500 to Loki Grill.
Well, it would be pay as you go and on an hourly rate, and I'll report each month as to how much we spent. But I don't expect that. I would expect that would take us for a year. You know, not looking to.
No, not all at once, no.
Yeah, but just to up to $2,500.
Up to 2,500. Council, right? Worded correct, okay. So, we need a motion, second?
I've second.
So I'll make a motion.
Okay. And a second, okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried.
I don't think we didn't make a motion on it.
We didn't vote, no, we didn't do it.
No.
I don't think we should vote on that till after
We
the
didn't wanna
county
vote on
votes.
it, Right.
What if the county decides not to transfer the land to us?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I think it also gives anyone that wants to ask questions or have any comment or discussion about it, both from the board or the public, an opportunity to weigh in. But we will have that on the agenda for the December meeting.
Okay, all right.
The one thing about this state law that's going into effect, it will put a damper on IDA projects, although several contractors have told me that if you're building a $20 million project, you're already paying prevailing wage or you're not getting workers. And so, or qualified workers, decent is the wrong term, but, and at the same time, there was supposed to be a board set up to create regulations and guidance on this, because it says if your construction project is more than, does your construction project mean just the cost of construction? Does it mean the total project cost, including your land? Does it include your interest during construction and your architectural and engineering work? And hopefully it includes everything, because then the 30% test, if it's only on construction, there are going to be projects that will trigger the prevailing wage law requirements simply because of the pilot agreement, the sales tax exemption, and the mortgage tax exemption, let alone if they have historic tax credits or low-income housing tax credits. And it's also not clear whether it's 30% government incentives. Do they include only state incentives, or do they include state and federal incentives? So the way the legislation was drafted, there's an industry-wide discussion of what ifs, because no one really knows what it means.
That's it.
Public, I don't know that we have any public members, but
Any public comment? Anybody on?
I would want to welcome our new council, Andy Howard, and we want to thank again Ted Gutterman for his many years of service, and he's working with us on transition and helping us wrap things up, and we're very grateful to him for that courtesy and accommodation.
Oh, any other questions? No? No further ado, need a motion to adjourn? So moved. Second?
Second.
Without objection, so ordered.
That's good. All right.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Best way to turn this thing off is just to shut it off. I told you what I did.
I couldn't hear in there.
No, Friday.
Oh, fine.
Yeah, we don't
Well,
have to go to
it was,
6.